People say your past doesn't define you, but I disagree greatly. I think your past is the only thing that defines you. I think I definitely peaked in first grade because that's when I invented, bada boom, the Mr. Tongue comics. For me, the Mr. Tongue comics were like my masterpiece. They were my magnum opus. And they still are. I haven't made anything better than this. When I was a child, I would watch cartoons on television and be like, man, I want to make one of those. I really like the idea of making my own cartoon. But obviously, a child cannot fund and put together an entire television program. And so the next closest thing I could do was basically storyboard my ideas for if I ever made a TV show. And apparently the first thing my mind went to was making a TV show about anthropomorphic tongues. You can very easily spot my influences throughout these comics. I definitely take a lot of inspiration from SpongeBob and other Nickelodeon classics. I didn't even really read that many comic books. It was just that I wanted to recreate what I was seeing on the television. So let's bust open this bad boy. The first slide we got Mr. Tongue series, spelled Sears. But notice I think I didn't know how to spell tongue, which if you're making a comic about tongues, you should probably make sure you know how to spell tongues first. And I had the genius idea of fitting 5 episodes on one gosh dang piece of paper. I don't even know where to start. This is like a maze just trying to read this thing. Mr. Tongue. Okay, that was definitely supposed to be the ninja. I'm just gonna glaze over any grammatical mistakes and spelling errors that I have in this because I can already tell there are going to be plenty. I didn't have high hopes for my spelling abilities in the day, but my goodness, I really should have known how to spell ninja. I thought I knew how to spell too. What? I remember going to a spelling bee. This couldn't have been the same. The basic story of the first one, it appears to be Mr. Tongue gets a ninja hat and then steals a guy. No, he imagines stealing a guy or putting a guy who stole his money in jail, and then he goes to sleep. That's brilliant. Okay, yeah, there's a Halloween one. I was already on the Halloween special in the very first slide. And we have a fun facts thing right here. I think Mr. Tongue, he is a tongue. Mr. Tongue has a nose. You might not see, but here is a look nose. Okay, so the fun fact is that Mr. Tongue has a nose, just in case you didn't notice. Mr. Tongue is now. He is fun for you, so remember, he is now. His birthday is October 2nd. Why is that important? I mean, I guess that makes sense. You're introducing a character. The main things you need to know is, do they have a nose? And when is their birthday? I know those are the first questions I ask myself. So one day at my school, there was this comic book artist, I guess you would call it. Author, rather. He showed up and gave a message to the school, and it was cool. Everyone got to, go get autographs from him and get signed books from him. I got 2 signed books from this guy by the name Will Robertson. I have no idea where this man is now. Definitely making better comics than Mr. Tongue. But my small, selfish self was not going to let this opportunity pass by. I knew even at that time, it's not what you know, it's who you know in this industry. And so I was determined to make an impression on this guy. You can see in all the pictures of that school's newspaper that I was just pestering this guy. Look at that. I'm literally terrorizing him with my comics. This poor dude was just trying to get through the day, just, giving autographs, I don't know what I was thinking, maybe he would be proud of me, or maybe he would get me a deal in a publishing company so I could publish Mr. Tongue, and it was to the point where he gave me this special letter. To Landon, thanks so much for letting me look at your cartoons. They are so cool. Keep up the good work. From Will Robertson. Now listen, Will. I understand you gotta do what you gotta do, but I mean, there's no need to lie. You can be honest and say these comics were a piece of crap. So I guess the moral of that story is, if you pester people enough, sometimes something good comes out of it, but you will definitely have regret over it, like 10 years down the road. Like I said, I don't know what this Will Robertson guy is up to now, but if he's watching this, Will, I deeply apologize. Maybe we could, meet up sometime and, work on a new comic book or something, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me give you a rundown of the characters. There was Captain, I want to say his name was Captain Curdle. I don't remember why Captain Curdle. Does he produce cheese? Here's a good introduction for Captain Curdle. In episode 3, Mr. Tongue the Pirate, Captain Curdle's a pirate, by the way, he enters a ladder onto a boat manned by Captain Curdle himself, and he says the wise words, you want to be a pirate? He gives him a bandana, and then the end, and he's looking through the thing. So, in this story, Captain Curdle is kind of like, a guy you can look up to. He's like the kind of the father figure of the Mr. Tongue comics. He was manly, had strict morals, but he was also a pirate, so he was just cool. And then there's the robot. I don't even remember what the frick his name was. I remember there's a random guy with a beard, but I do not recall his name. And there's a smart guy too. And you could tell he was smart because he was wearing glasses. There's the robot guy, and there's Captain Curdle. Here's a classic Mr. Tongue episode. This one, I think, was the most widely known because my family would, I don't know, I think they talked about it a lot because, I guess let's find out what's all the hype about this. I remember it was about a tsunami. And I know that because it says, I know this is the one because it says Mr. Tongue and the tsunami. Oh no, a tsunami. Essentially, he opens his mouth so big that he drinks the entire tsunami, and then, hooray, he saves the day, the end. Definitely some riveting storytelling going on right here. Yeah, I really had high hopes for this. I thought I would at least be able to read it. But this was supposed to be like my masterpiece. And I guess it was for the time that I was stupid. This really was a hype comic though back in the day. If you were in my grade, in my class during first grade, you knew who Mr. Tongue was. Alright, here's another one of my favorite episodes, the Mr. Tongue, well, it's actually a series on its own, the Mr. Tongue World Tour. I'm hoping there won't be too many accidentally racist remarks in this. Hi, I'm at Mexico. In Mexico, they wear hats. The end. So yeah, that was the Mr. Tongue comics. I've come a long ways in life, but topping the Mr. Tongue comics is something that I have not done yet, which I gotta get on that. It's no wonder Mr. Tongue didn't sell millions of copies because it was ahead of its time. Nobody was ready for something like this. However, I think I do want to immortalize my favorite comic from here somehow. I think I'll recreate it in like Photoshop or something to just have it be immortalized in the digital space.